It's the big one. Manchester United versus Lyon. The biggest game of the season so far. There's a lot to talk about. How is Ruben Amorim going to set up? How is this man going to do in goal? And we know he's going to start now. We know he will be in the 11. We just need to try and figure out the rest of the team as we go through today's stream. And also, I want to get to some of your guys' predictions that you were putting in our lovely Discord server yesterday. Before we get into any of that, though, get in the chat and let me know how you guys are doing. How are we feeling? It's on, right? This is pressure. This is pressure time for Manchester United. You sign for United, you play for United to feature in big games. Someday we want that to be in the Champions League, right? Maybe next season, the season beyond. Who knows? But in terms of right now, this is as big as it gets for United. This is an absolutely massive game. How are we feeling about it? Personally, really confident. I'm genuinely really confident. And, you know, a lot of people, I get criticised almost at times for being a bit too optimistic about United. And I'm called delusional sometimes and stuff like that. I really think United are going to win this game. I'm very, very confident. And maybe that's going to backfire, but I don't think it will. I am excited for this football match. Who we got in the chat? We got Steve, we got Alex, we got Bobby the Bob, we got Rory, we got Zhao. Good morning to you all. I hope you are all very well. How are we feeling? Absolutely buzzing. Big game. It is. It's an absolute huge game. Mount and Garnacho in that 10 role. That is our mission today. That is our job in this stream. To come up with a Manchester United 11 to win this football match. We are a little bit hit in terms of injuries. Of course, we've got the fresh Joshua Zirkzee injury. We've got a few players already out of the team. But we've also got players returning. Kobbie Mainoo is getting closer and closer to returning to the starting 11, as is Mason Mount. Maybe this is his day. We've got options to choose from. Some areas we are going to be forced into decisions. But I think we all saw last week. We all saw last week in that first leg that United can win this game. If you take errors out of last week's performance, we win 2-0. And that was away from home. And it didn't feel like United at our best. I think we can play better than we did last week, which is why I have this sort of underlying confidence. Now, we do know that United don't always produce in the big moments over the past few years, that the team can bottle it a little bit. I'm nervous, but it's a good nerve to have, right? And I said this last week. You want to be nervous. As a football fan, it's part of the sport. It's part of supporting a team is being nervous. And we haven't had that this season because as the season's gone on, we've been knocked out of different competitions. In the league, we're nowhere near. So we've had nothing to play for. So we go into these league games like, yeah, it's just another league game. Let's see what happens. Oh, we won. Nice, that's cool. Oh, we lost. Damn it. This is a big game. This is what it means we're playing for something, right? It means there's something on the line. So I'm really looking forward to it. Okay, I'm nervous, but in that old European classic night at Old Trafford way. Exactly. You should be nervous for these games. Not necessarily because you think you're going to lose, but just because there's so much riding on the game, right? There's so much riding on it. United to win or Onana howler. Can we have both? Says Alex. Possibly. Hopefully not. Hopefully not, though. Hopefully we just get cruise control. Nice, easy win. 2 or 3-0. That's the dream. Will it happen? I'm not too sure. Not too sure. Have you got any thoughts on that Brazilian Frankfurt goalkeeper? I haven't currently. Haven't not watched him, so I can't really say anything. AJ, you're not delusional. Thank you very much. Although, sometimes I might be. Easy W, Lyon are mugs. Right, fair enough. Glad you're confident. I really think United need to start well. What we need to do is get that Old Trafford crowd behind us straight away, I think. Just as early as possible, get the crowd up for it. Get the crowd involved. The whole 12th man cliche, all that stuff. Make it happen. Good morning, Chad. How are you, mate? How are you? Anyway, should we just get straight to creating our starting 11? Then what I'm going to do a little bit later on in the stream is compare it to some of the 11s that some of you guys predicted in the Discord server yesterday. If you want to join the Discord server, get involved in this sort of thing, then do it. Join the Discord server. Completely free to join, so check it out. Let's get to the starting 11 though. I think to be honest, certain parts of this team are going to pick itself. I think where we've got a conversation perhaps is maybe at wing back, depending on your view on things tactically. Certainly in midfield, there's a big conversation to have, and also in the front three. So we'll start off with the easy stuff. Andre Onana in goal. He's playing. We've already been told that, so I think it's fair to predict him in the starting 11. Andre Onana to start. In terms of the back three, at the moment we are a little low on options, to tell the truth. We've of course got De Ligt currently out injured as well. I'm assuming it's Maguire, it's Mazraoui, it is Lenny Yoro. Is there a chance that Lindelof comes in for a bit of extra experience over someone like Yoro? Possibly, but I just don't see it happening. Amorim has very much used Lindelof as a central centre-back, so for Lindelof to play, he's going to have to play out of position, or Maguire would be out of position, and I just don't see the value in doing that. So I guess the question here for you guys is, what way around would you use Yoro and Mazraoui? Was it this game last week, or was it a different game where we saw them play 45 minutes in each position? Or am I getting that confused with a different match? There's been a match recently where one of them started on the left for 45 minutes and then they switched at half-time. Was that this game last week? Let me know in the chat if you know the answer to that. The back three picks itself? Yeah, I think so. Like I said, it is just the order of the back three, to be honest. Big man Shaw to come back in. You know what? Shaw has been so unavailable for us this season that I've got loads of different players around the screen here that you guys can't see. I don't even have Shaw in there. But you know what? Because it's, a day of positivity for United, right? I'm going to include Luke Shaw in the conversation. Let me know your thoughts. He came on against Newcastle, and honestly, he just immediately showed what Luke Shaw does, right? That extra bit of technical quality on the ball, a little bit of empathy on the pass. Good player, good player. Probably too soon for him to start, but maybe as a sub. Just need an early goal. I can't survive 80+ minutes at 0-0. Steve, was it you? We'll get back to it a little bit later. But in the Discord, was it you who said the 97th minute winner from Maguire? As much as I'd love it, I don't know if my heart can handle 97 minutes at 0-0 just waiting for the ball to go in. Not sure if I can handle it. Good morning, Josh. How are you, mate? How are you feeling? The fans are planning the first ever TIFO in Old Trafford too. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I hope we get a good atmosphere. I think Old Trafford can be a little bit flat sometimes, sort of like on a week-to-week basis, if you know what I mean. Saturdays, 3 p.m. kickoffs, not always the best crowd in the world, but I think for these games, it can be quite special at Old Trafford, so hopefully we get one of those nights. Back three picks itself, yeah, I think it does. Mazraoui seems to be on the same side as Garnacho for some reason. True. Shaw on as a sub maybe, but not starting. I could see that, to be honest. I think they've switched over a couple of times, Yoro and Mazraoui. Yeah, it's been on a few occasions. I can't remember if they did it last week or not. Yoro's central centre-back with Shaw and Mazraoui would be lovely, but I don't see it happening. So you're saying Yoro in there. I mean, in terms of ball progression ability, that back three, these three here, would be really nice, wouldn't it? That would be very, very nice in terms of ball progression, but as you've said, I don't think we're going to see it, just because I doubt Shaw comes into this game and starts. I'd be surprised. I think we're going to really try and protect him and manage his way back into the team. Same, I couldn't deal with that. It'd be tough, wouldn't it? It would be really tough. Shaw starting means he can only be used as one sub, a harsh point, but relevant with the possibility of extra time. Steve, I love your agenda on the one sub thing. Mazraoui right centre-back, Yoro left centre-back. We've also got to consider how Lyon are going to approach the game, of course, as well, how they use their front three. Is there a chance we see something different this week? Obviously, Tolisso. Last week, Lyon were a little bit difficult to pin to actually one structure, weren't they? They sort of roamed in between different shapes a little bit. So the wingers would sometimes be wide and they'd sometimes come inside and isolate the centre-backs. Tolisso was sort of central midfield at times, but also left wing. They were quite rotational and quite difficult to pick up in terms of like forcing them into one fixed position, which from their point of view is a good thing, I guess. And they did cause problems last week. They did cause problems. Do you think Fofana may start for Lyon, which of course impacts who starts in midfield for United? In terms of injury news and things like that, I have no idea on the situation at Lyon currently. Obviously, at the moment, we've just got what they used last week. Do I expect too many changes? I could see changes in their midfield, to be honest. Hang on, just fighting off a sneeze. Not today. Not today. I've had my tablets. Not today. We're good. I didn't expect Veretout to start last week. I had Nemanja Matic in my starting 11, and who else? I had someone else in midfield as well. I had two different midfielders for Lyon last week. I can't remember who it was. 100% correct, AJ. Old Trafford needs to create a proper atmosphere. 100%. We really need that. I think I actually want Maguire to start. First time I've said that all season. As in, even if De Ligt was fit, you would still want Maguire. Fair, I respect that. I think this three, though, doesn't require much more conversation than that, right? I think that's fairly obvious. We will now go to the wing-backs. Now, like I said right at the start, depending on how you view us at the moment tactically, you may see this as, again, the players pick themselves. There's only two for this position. Or you might be open for something a little bit different. So I guess the obvious is Dalot right wing back, Patrick Dorgu left wing back. That probably seems the most likely. If I had to put my life on the line and place a bet on this, I would probably go for those two. However, we have seen Harry Amas playing a little bit recently. Was that to protect Dorgu, or was that to give Amas his chance, or was it a bit of both? Not sure, but I think he did okay on his full debut. Nice to see him play. So he is an option. And also, we are just going to keep occasionally floating this out there and just put the conversation out there. Is there an opportunity to play Garnacho at wing-back? If we want to be more attacking than what we saw last week. Last week, of course, we had realistically 5 defenders in the starting 11, and then we had Casemiro and Ugarte in front of that. We lacked attacking players at times. Is this a chance at Old Trafford where we can be a bit more expressive? Can we get Garnacho in a wing-back role? Not sure. I think Maguire is just a bad fit for this matchup, as they use a striker who likes to roam about a bit. It's an interesting one because they will almost at times play without a striker at all. We saw that last week. Really rotational. Like, sometimes they were dropping so many players deep to try and overload in the first phase that they actually just had no one up here. Does that suit Maguire? Because he's not pulled about. If he just lets them go into those zones, does that suit him? Or is it a problem because there's the potential for him to be pulled about a little bit more? How do you guys see that? Does it make it perfect for Maguire, or like the opposite? And I think, as always, that will divide opinion, as I think Maguire so often does. Feels like too big a game to experiment with Garnacho at wing-back. I understand that. Garnacho to wing-back in an emergency only. Possibly, last 20 minutes if we need a goal. That's what I will say, actually. I think Amorim with his subs at times is... I don't know, he's inconsistent because sometimes he makes his changes really quick and gets the extra attackers on. And then other times, we need a goal when in the 70th minute we've still got 5 defenders on the pitch. I hope tonight, hopefully we're not in this situation in the first place, but I hope tonight, if we're a goal down with 25 to go, he has the balls to get Garnacho at wing back, or is there a youth player he can turn to on the bench, a more attacking profile? Only if we're chasing the game, only if we're desperate. I would like to see him sort of gamble with that more attacking approach. But in terms of from the start of the game, it's these two, right? I think this base of 6 with the current squad literally picks themselves. Maguire up top later, only if we are drawn into added time. Is that the ultimate attack and plan, do you reckon? Garnacho wing back, Maguire up front. Bosh. If the stream randomly ends, just close the video and open it up again. Why does that always happen? Why does that always happen around here? Yeah, guys, if your stream randomly stops or anything like that, refresh your page or close the stream and come back onto it. I don't know why it does it. I've no idea why it does it. There's nothing wrong on my end. YouTube just has an agenda against us, I guess. I don't know. Let him roam. He can't score from halfway looking at his own goal. Leave Maguire deeper. I think I agree with that. Tonight is the night to do something clever and be eccentric. Maguire up top. Not sure if I would go for Maguire up top. Like Chad said, our strikers are useless. Maybe you do go Maguire up front. Anyway, that's the team sorted so far. Those 6 are playing. I'm very, very confident of that. The midfield is a little bit more interesting. Now, I'm trying to cast my mind back to last week's stream, what we came up with. Because I think the options are Bruno Fernandes. This bloke's always an option, right? Because I just love Bruno Fernandes. Casemiro, an option. It really felt at the weekend against Newcastle like he was rested and he was protected. I would be surprised if he doesn't start this match. It really felt like we were saving him for this match, and I understand why. We've also got Ugarte. Now, Ugarte's been questioned a little bit recently, always by myself, I think. But he's had a few questions over him recently. However, there is no denying in a big European game, if you can get those two next to each other, you're going to get some ball-winning ability, and that's a good thing. They protect the back 3 quite well. There is always the argument, though, that do they give us enough on the ball? Is this a night to keep it safe, keep it solid for 60, 70 minutes? so you start these two? Or is it a night for Bruno Fernandes to play in a double pivot and to drop Ugarte out of the starting 11? That is one of the big decisions for Amorim tonight, in my opinion. Who he starts, I think Casemiro will play. I think he'll play. We can do a poll if you like, but I think he'll start. Who plays next to him? Bruno Fernandes or Ugarte? I think that's a big call. Is there also potential for someone like Kobbie Mainoo to come in there? Possibly. Is he ready to start just yet? Coming back from injury. He's had a couple of substitute cameos. He looked quite sharp, I thought, by the way. I think he's looked quite sharp when he's come on. Some really nice technical work, as we always expect. Is it too early for him to start? Maybe. Christian Eriksen against Newcastle played a deeper role. Is he an option? Was that Amorim experimenting with Eriksen? And if so, did that experiment work in his eyes, or did it completely go wrong? I mean, we got smashed, so maybe it went wrong. Or was it purely a case of Eriksen played to protect someone else? I'm not sure. Outside of that, we don't have too much. Collier is still suffering with injury problems at the moment, so he's not going to play. It's these five realistically. What do we reckon? What do we reckon in the chat? I know what I would do. I know what I would do personally. Let's have a look. Ugarte has only played 54% of possible minutes for United this season. Is that actually true? That is a mental stat. Steve, is that like 100% true? If so, that is crazy. That is crazy. Anyway, let's have a read up in chat. I want Ugarte and Bruno there. What I also want to see, guys, particularly for this conversation, is reasons why as well. Because I think it's going to come down to three in particular that we're going to have a sort of shootout between here. I want to know the reasons why you pick the two that you pick. You know, if you go for Bruno in the deep pivot, why? If you go for Ugarte, why? Casemiro, why? I want to hear your reasons. I want to see Mainoo and Ugarte with Bruno and Mount in the 2-10s, quite an attacking team. I think I want Casemiro and Ugarte. Let's be completely honest here, we're going to field the exact same 11. I'm not sure that we will. Casemiro and Bruno. Casemiro to sit and Bruno to have that deep lying playmaker license. Would like to see him in the pivot. I like it. Good reasoning. Bruno and Casemiro for me. Ugarte. Hello. I hope you're well, mate. I want Bruno and Mount in the 10s, Ugarte and Casemiro in central midfield. What I do like with this shape that we use is I always question, like, we don't have any wingers on the pitch. We don't have any 1v1 threats, which I feel is still true. But it does give you the opportunity to get sort of 4 technical players in the middle for central midfielders, which can be quite nice for us. And in this game in particular, assuming Højlund's going to play up front, which seems very, very likely, 4 midfielders might be the way forward. It genuinely might be. Ugarte offers nothing. Eriksen's physicality is receding faster than his hairline. Right. We need a blend of experience and ability to win the ball back high up the pitch, hence Ugarte and Casemiro. I think also, when let's try and give the reasoning behind why you might go for different duos. Let's move Eriksen and Mainoo out of the way, because I don't think they're going to start this game in the middle. The argument for these two is, obviously they're quite both aggressive players. If you play one aggressive player next to a Bruno, as Ugarte goes aggressive, is Bruno going to cover him? I'm not so sure. At least when you go Casemiro and Ugarte, they do have that know-how. Yes, they have aggressive tendencies, but they are also intelligent enough to cover each other. So if Ugarte does go diving forward, at least we've still got a ball-winning midfielder next to him. And vice versa too. Let's say Casemiro gambles high and gets caught out. Ugarte does have the intelligence to then cover behind him. So there certainly is that argument. I think the reverse argument, though, is then on the ball. Casemiro and Ugarte. Casemiro, I think, is quite a good progressive passer. I always say that. I think if you can slow the game down, which Europa League tends to be a slower pace, I think if you can create that slower environment, Casemiro can get the ball and everything's in front of him. I think he's quite good. I think he's quite a good progressive player. Ugarte still feels limited. He still feels a little bit limited in these games in terms of progressing the ball. It's a tough one. I like Ugarte and Casemiro midfield if Casemiro can carry the forward passing burden at least a little bit, which I think he can to an extent. Is it going to be that Bruno level, when Bruno drops deep and progresses? Of course not. But we're definitely going to do a poll on this. I think this is the big conversation today. Good morning, David. How are you, mate? How you been? I haven't spoke to you in ages. How are you? I think Ugarte comes on if we're winning. That's the other thing I will say. If Ugarte doesn't start this game, which I don't know if he will or not, we'll do a poll in just 1 second. If Ugarte doesn't start the game, he's a heck of a substitute to have with 25 minutes to go. In terms of if you're winning, if you're losing, any game state, 70 minutes in, players are going to fatigue, space is going to open up a little bit. Ugarte's sort of engine is running about, his nippiness, his aggressiveness, his tenacity is a really nice impact to have. You know, fatigue setting in, bam, put the mad dog in the middle. I quite like him as a substitute. I do quite like that impact. By the way, guys, you will see in the chat, linked by David, right at the top of the chat there. David, thank you very much. A link to the second channel. Ooh, we've got a second channel. Isn't that exciting? Second channel, we don't talk about United. So if United bore you sometimes, perhaps, head over to the second channel. We talk about all sorts of different teams. This weekend, we've got content coming on, hopefully, let me remember the game. I think it's Newcastle and Villa play each other Saturday night, I think. And then we've also got Man City versus Villa early next week. And I think we've also got a Spurs Forest video coming as well. And then also on that channel, we're going to look at different teams' tactics. We've discussed Nottingham Forest. We've discussed Adam Wharton, Asensio, his return to form. So, yeah, check out the second channel if you wish. And also, you will see linked in that message a link to our Discord server, which we are going to be going through later, looking at some of your guys' predictions for the starting 11 from last night. So if you want to get involved in that in the future, use the link in that pinned message. David, thank you very much, as always, mate. How are you feeling about the game? How are you feeling? Because I'm excited but worried, but I think we're going to win. Amorim likes to start games with a better defensive solidity, so Ugarte would bring that, and in the second half we sub on Casemiro or Mount. Oh, I see. So, Mustafa, you would go for Ugarte and Bruno next to each other. Is that what you're saying? Bruno has to play as well, though. You have to go with 3 midfielders because our players just don't suit a midfield 2 in this system. Bruno has to be somewhere, doesn't he? He just has to be. Ugarte is a good option off the bench for this game. I agree. Casemiro can offset that with better passing range. I agree again. Ugarte is composed on the ball, just doesn't have the passing range. He's good in tight spaces. Yeah, I think that's all fair. David, what an absolute bloody legend. David with the gifted membership in the chat. Guys, I want to see that chat right now. No football talk. I just want to see it full of green, love hearts, stars, W's, whatever emojis we've got these days. Get some love hearts in the chat to say thank you to David because he's an absolute legend and he's just gifted a membership in the chat like he pretty much always does. So David, thank you very much as always, mate. Thank you very much. Second channel is the non-depressing channel. Does that mean this is the depressing channel? What an advert. Where you can actually analyse brilliant football. It is fun. It is fun talking about slightly better football, if you know what I mean. I've also done a video this morning on the Football Terrace Extras channel, covering the Arsenal Madrid game. We did that as well last week. So if you want to go check that out, that would also be greatly appreciated. Links are in the Discord server. We've also in the chat got Alex with the 17-month membership. 17 months. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I like that. He says the central midfield balance equals a long-term issue. Completely agree. The solution tonight basically is to win. I agree. Perhaps it is one of those nights where ideal balance in 6 months' time is very different to what tonight's might be, right? Tonight is a case of getting a job done. It doesn't have to be free-flowing football. It doesn't have to be playing Lyon off the park. You just got to find a way to win. And I think, someone like Casemiro does bring that. Ugarte makes the game tight for you. Maybe that's the way to go. Chad, I think it's in the description, but I will get that sorted. Thank you very much, sir, for always standing up for me. Anyway, let's do a poll. Let's do a poll because I think this is the most interesting conversation of the day, to be honest. So, midfield. Oh my, I just put a U in the word midfield. How have I even done that? Midfield duo, we're going to go for. So, hang on, let me get this right. So, it could be Fernandes and Ugarte. This is our double pivot, by the way. Of course, if you don't vote Bruno here, he can still play higher. Remember that. Fernandes. It's weird calling him Fernandes, by the way. His name's just Bruno, isn't it? Plus Casemiro. Let me know some other players like that, by the way. What players? Certain players you have to say their full name. Like, it's just weird not saying their full name. Like, saying Martinez, for example, is weird. It's Lissandro Martinez. Do you have any players like that, where you feel like you have to say the full name or just the first name or something? Or am I waffling? Anyway, poll is now in the chat for our midfield duo. It should be Bruno Ugarte, Bruno Casemiro, Casemiro Ugarte. I think I got it right. It's definitely a long-term issue in the midfield. If you play with 3 midfielders, it's easier to manage. Completely agree. But in a double pivot, both players need to be more complete rather than specialists. I think that's very true. Can you also blend that a little bit with who you use in the inside forward position as well? I think possibly so. You know, let's say you use a Bruno higher. He can drop in naturally to make your 3 in midfield anyway. Where's Ugarte, by the way? Let's get him back in there. I'm going to keep a close eye on this poll. I want to see how it goes. Trent. Bruno Fernandes is just Bruno. Completely agree. Bruno Guimaraes is Bruno Guimaraes. Oh, see, I would just call him Guimaraes. But I would definitely say just Bruno for Fernandes. Casemiro, yeah. Dele Alli, it's good one. Amad Diallo. Yeah, just call him Amad, to be honest. It's weird though, right? It's weird. Why do we do that? Why is it like certain players you've got to say their full name? I don't know. Anyway, that's kind of completely irrelevant, but thank you guys for entertaining my little brain. Why not start Shaw? He can replicate Lich's playmaking role at left centre-back. I think in an ideal world, we would like to play Shaw. We saw the other day when he comes on, instantly passing ability, right? The composure on the ball. It's just a different technique to what everyone else uses. We also saw those crosses from the left half space. I would love to suggest Shaw for this game. But he's got this big problem, and he's had it for a lot of his career. He's just injury prone. And when you've got an injury prone player, you've got to be really careful with how quickly you bring them back. You can't rush it. Because what we don't want is Shaw comes back tonight, too early, 20 minutes in, he's done his hamstring. And he doesn't play again this season, and we're back at square one, and we've got an asset that we can't sell because he can't stay fit. So we have to be careful with him. We do have to be careful. Does he maybe have 20 minutes in him from the bench? Yeah, possibly. But I would be surprised to see him start, unfortunately. It's always Big Dan Burn. I like that one. Yeah, that's good. In this system, yes, that's why I think Casemiro and Ugarte have to start with Bruno ahead, dropping down. But then again, that could mean we lack numbers in attack. I think, yeah, like you said there, it also depends on the positioning of the wing-backs as well, right? Because there is that risk if you drop your midfielder into the 3 as well, and you've got deep wing-backs, you've suddenly got a load of players here, and you're only going to end up with 2 in more advanced positions. I think if we do want one of our forwards to rotate deeper, we've got to be more aggressive with the wing-backs. Now, we're going to struggle to do that this season. Unless Amad returns and comes into this position, which he might. I'm still a little bit uncertain. Hopefully in the summer we can address that a bit more though. Hopefully at least one of these can be a winger, so we can drop our midfielder and know that we still have options higher. That's the dream, really. That's the dream. Big Dallo for me. I think that's only you, Steve, mate. I think that's only you. Anyway, the poll is pretty close, to be honest. So we've got Bruno and Casemiro winning the poll. And then, in joint second, we've got the other 2, basically. We're only on 59 votes, though, which is not enough, to be honest. So, guys, please do get involved in the poll. Just open the chat and press the option you want. It's completely free to do, so do it. Please. Please. You have a right-back who can't play centre-back at centre-back. Are you referencing Mazraoui here? Because it's not ideal, I do agree. But I think you can do a job there. Mainu Ugarte, says David, in the double pivot, and then a Bruno Garnacho Mount false 9. Oh, David, I like it. I love someone that can come into the chat and bring us something a little bit different. So what was that? That was Ugarte. It was... Where's Cobby? Cobby. Bruno. Garnacho. And then Mount false 9. Is that what you said, David? Let me just reread that. Is that what we said? You know what? I love it. Like I said, I'm more than happy to try ideas outside the box. And that does bring that, to be honest. It does bring that. It gives you the ability to overload midfield at times. Some technicians in there. We all saw it last week, right? We all saw it last week. The subs that come on for the last 20. Did they massively impact the game and, kind of send us to victory? No. But it's just a different level of technical ability when we get certain players on this pitch instead of others. Xerxes is normally one of those. Unfortunately, we're not going to see that now for the rest of the season. But Cobby is one of those. Mason Mount is one of those. I think when Amad returns, and hopefully it's sooner rather than later, although again, you've got to manage it. I think when Ahmad returns, we're going to watch him, some of his tight space dribbling, and we're going to be like, oh yeah, that's what forwards are meant to do. I remember now. I remember what forwards look like. I can't wait for the return of Ahmad. I think obviously we all rate him so highly now, but I think we probably forget actually how good he was at times earlier in the season. I think he'll surprise us again. I think voice crack. I think United doesn't work with a striker, so playing with an extra midfielder works well in my opinion. The problem always is, yes, we can overload deep areas, we can go for retention players, linking players, etc. But you do have to have that threat in the final third. You do have to have that threat. Why not Shaw left wing back? Again, not right now. I just don't think physically he's got the fitness level right now. Don't think he's got it. Do you think Mount is fit enough to start? And if yes, surely only plays an hour? I think yes, personally. I think now, yes. Because I believe we had this conversation last week, if not the week before. And I believe the point that someone made was that Mount was on the bench for the game against Leicester before the international break. That is now over a month ago. So if he was on the bench then, he was close to being able to get minutes at the time. It's been a month has passed since then. He had done a month of intense training in that time. He's had a few cameos now of sort of 20, 25 minutes from the bench. I think he's just about there. Like you said, it's probably 60. I think he's capped at 60 minutes. I don't think he's ready to play 90. But I think he's ready to start. I would say he's just about now there. Need someone in the box too? Yeah, that's always the question. Mount can drop deep into midfield and let Garnacho run in behind. I like that idea. We have more option on the ball as well. Højlund constantly hugging centre-backs isn't going to work. So what we also need to consider as well as we go through this team, let me just close the poll by the way. Bruno and Casemiro are going to be our double pivot. We need to remember what we discussed with Lyon last week before the game, and also some of what came true in the game. You guys will remember I'd done a video, right? I broke down Lyon's tactics, how they were going to set up, and then the next day we did the stream. The big thing that we pointed out with Lyon, ignore the personnel for a second, just focus on the positioning of the players. Let's do that. Lyon are, for lack of a better word, just disconnected in the way that they defend. So they sort of start off in a 4-2-4 shape like this, and we've all seen the positives of the 4-2-4 before, but we've also seen the negatives, right? The parts of this which just don't work. Now what I'll do is I'll start off in a 4-2-4, and then as the ball goes backwards, they will then switch into more of a 4-2-3-1. So one of the forwards will press the ball, the other one will then drop a little bit deeper into midfield. The problem is, for Lyon, the rest of the team don't come with them and they don't back up the press. So what we saw last week in particular, let's just quickly grab Garnacho, let's say. What we saw last week was these 2 6s here for Lyon were man marking pretty much our 2 10s. So where our 2 10s went, their 2 6s went. That meant that we could pin Lyon into a back 6. So, let's say our 2 inside forwards go a little bit higher like this. The Lyon midfielders would follow them. And this is why United at times were able to move the ball forward in that game. It's also why I was so frustrated though, because in these deep positions, we have a numerical overload, we have the advantage, especially if we use the goalkeeper as well. We had the advantage last week. We just weren't brave enough. We didn't go and play in those areas. I was crying out for us to do it a bit more. Hopefully this week we do it. And you guys have voted Bruno Fernandes into midfield. I think he gives us at least an ability to do that because he does want the ball in those areas. He'll demand it in those positions. So I'm hoping we sort of take advantage of the weaknesses that were there last week. We did it very briefly, sort of in moments, quite sporadically last week. Hopefully this week we can do it a bit more consistently. And with the midfield that you guys have voted for, I think we can do that. There are 197 viewers, but only 28 of them have liked. This is the stuff of nightmares. It's just not acceptable, really, is it? It's not acceptable. I refuse to carry on. Guys, can you leave a like on the stream, please? I'm not asking for much. Just press like, please. I even say please. I even ask quite nicely, right? If not, I'll set Chad on you. And, you don't want that. You do not want Chad on your back because long day, mate. So if I was you, I'd leave a like on the stream. Also, apparently, it just boosts United's chances of winning. Apparently. Apparently. I can't confirm that. This isn't a contract or anything. But it's a rumour I've heard, and I mean, it's worth a try, right? It's worth a try because we want United to win. So leave a like on the stream, and it gives us a chance. Gives us a chance, right? Like the stream. And good morning, Snipes. How are you, mate? How are you, mate? We can play with Højlund if we tactically get him on half spaces or get him the ball in wide channels. I'd love to see him in the channels more if we can. I don't know if tonight is the night for it so much. I'll speak about that a little bit shortly once we've got our 11. I don't know if it's the night for it or not. I did an upside down like. Right. Okay. By the way, what you should actually do is you should... No, I'm not going to say that actually. Don't worry. Ignore that. Anyway, let's carry on. So we've got the double pivot now. Now it's front three time. It's front three time, and we're kind of racing through this today. Is that because we have a lack of options? Kind of. Garnacho could play in the front three. True. Højlund could play in the front three. Also true. Mason Mount could. Kobbie Mainoo could. Christian, if I can grab him. Christian Eriksen could. Could anyone else? No. Not really. Not really. I don't see us playing a youth player from the start in this game. Xerxes injured. Ahmad's injured. I'm just looking around the screen. Rashford apparently doing quite well at Aston Villa. Anthony at Real Betis. Sancho at Chelsea. Any other forwards doing all right elsewhere? No, I think that's all of them. So these are the 5 players that we need to get into these 3 positions. Now, what we need tactically, I'll tell you this for free, is a blend. We need some people that are going to run, right? And I would say this ahead of any match, to be honest, but I think particularly against Lyon, we need players that want to go forward, that want to get off the back of the opposition where we can. We're going to need that to pin the Lyon defence back. But also, if you've got some players pinning, you then need some players coming towards the ball in these areas. So what I would suggest, to be honest, to make this front 3 fairly simple, is you have to start at least one of these 2, at least one of them, because they're your runners, maybe both of them, and you need minimum one of these 3. I guess that's kind of obvious with how many options we've got, but I think the profiles, almost injuries, are going to force us into quite a balanced attack. If slightly raw. Maybe slightly raw. Mount is a run boy. What I love about Mount is he can be both boys, right? He can be the run boy, but he can also be the connect boy. What a lad. Højlund's awareness of space is atrocious. Oh, that's not the spirit we need. Leaving only Højlund and Garnacho is just painful. Neither of them start for most Premier League clubs. I'm trying to think. Thinking through the league, what teams those 2 start for. Now, we've also got to remember that in the case of both of them, if they played for any other club, they would have been in a better environment as well. So they would have been platformed a bit better, and they would be better players by now. We do have to consider that. This isn't just the players at times lacking, it's also the club not doing enough to help them develop, which has been the case with far too many players. I think we need them tonight. I think we need them. I think I would go for both. If it was me, I'm going to give my opinion straight away because I'm an opinionated little shit. Højlund up top, Garnacho, Mason Mount is the trio that I personally would go for. You would have seen it in the thumbnail at the start. Eriksen and Casemiro is just a no-go for me. In the same team, in a game where, we've seen throughout the Europa League that physically we're actually one of the better teams, which says a lot for football abroad. Because when United dominate physically, it's quite a statement. So I think we should try and make the most of that. And to make the most of that, you don't go for Eriksen and Casemiro. You only pick one of them. And we've already voted Casemiro into the team. Kobbie, honestly, between these 2, I would, if I was Amram, I would almost just go whoever's the fittest. Like whoever is the most ready. The most ready to play. If you go Kobbie, you also have the ability to move Bruno higher into the front line. Mount doesn't quite give you the same license, but Kobbie does. But at the same time, if you go like this, Mount can still offer us that overloads. So for me, it's a straight shootout between who's the fittest of the 2. Corey, good morning, mate. Well, let's not forget Garnacho thinks he's the most skilled player at the club. He's a confident young man. I'll give him that. Kobbie, in my opinion, should play deeper. He can receive the ball under pressure and can play well in tight space. Yeah, David, I think I'm completely on board with that. Longer term, I think tonight I would go for the problem solving of the passing range of Casemiro and Bruno. I think is what I would do. If I have to watch Højlund up top with Garnacho on the left ignoring Torgu's runs. Hopefully not. Also, the average 20-year-old really shouldn't be starting every game, in my opinion. We ruined their development. Yeah, 100%. Again, it's not just on the two players. They haven't developed enough. Garnacho and Højlund, we expected more from them. I certainly expected more from Højlund in particular. But it's the club's job, right? It's the club's job to give them an environment where they can improve. Sorry, hay fever's taken over my eyes, starting to war. It's the club's job to create an environment where these players can come to United and improve as footballers. And we haven't created that environment for the past few years. So it's not just a failure on behalf of the players, it's on behalf of the managers we've had this season and last season, but also just the whole club, right? It's not one player, it's not one thing. As always, it's top to bottom. Top to bottom. Would you go for a Mount, Garnacho or as the 10s and then Kobbie Mainoo as a false 9? There is an option to do that. Let me kind of try and explain a little bit tactically what I'm looking at in this game. And a false 9 could work. Anyway, so we've already spoken about United last week were able to overload this area. We just didn't really do it enough. Hopefully dropping someone like Bruno in there who will give us a bit more on the ball. Hopefully that sort of addresses that problem. He will demand the ball a little bit more. And in Casemiro and Bruno, you've got two players who are quietly quite good at the combination work. But also good progressive passes. They've got good passing range. They can both go direct. They can go a bit longer. Lovely stuff. But I think what we really need to look at, I spoke about this in my preview last week. I spoke about it in the stream last week. And post-game we spoke about it as well. There's an ability to drag this Lyon team out because defensively their structure is, I don't want to call it bad, it's a bit blunt, but it's illogical, maybe. Basically, right, let's start from the front. 4-2-3-1 for Lyon, sometimes a 4-2-4. But very much, it's 4 players up here pressing, often 5. What we then see from Lyon, particularly during the game last week, was that the fullbacks would then connect to the wingbacks. So it was essentially front 2 cover your middle centre-back plus our 2 central midfielders. That was sort of how it worked. We then saw the Lyon wingers covering our wide centre-backs, something like this. And then it was fullbacks to wingbacks. And then it was 6s in here to 10s. Space. And we've got 3 players in that starting 11 that I think are quite good at attacking space. Højlund, Garnacho, and Mason Mount. And honestly, Dalot and Dorgu as well. I think that's why this blend, this front 3, again, it's not perfect. There's some raw players there. But I think this front 3 works quite nicely because you've got the progressive capabilities from deeper positions. And I think if these lot can offer that threat in behind first, you sort of scare Lyon a little bit. They don't want to go defending these channels. But also, playing Mount, playing Bruno, gives us the option to do the opposite as well. And I think that's what we need. The ability to do both. Not always long, not always to feet. Can we get that blend? And I think this front 3, combined with how Lyon will probably approach it, I think it gives us the ability to do that. To sometimes go quick, direct, into the channels, into these spaces. Lovely. Can we get the ball here, for example? Can Mount pull out into this position? This midfielder man marks him. Now can we go into feet? Could this be a false 9 like Mainoo? Maybe. But it's probably going to be Højlund. Now can we pop the ball back? That's the up-back through happening again, right? Up, back. Now we can play through. That can be a feature in this game. But also, Mount sometimes dropping into these spaces, picking the ball up and trying to carry it a little bit more. So Højlund's going to pin the opposition back. Can Mount now get in these areas? Can Bruno get in these areas? Again, last week, we had overloads in sort of several key areas. We just didn't really make the most of it. I think here, with different personnel, bringing someone like Mount in, maybe Mainoo as well, it could do something for us. It really could do something for us. And I do like the idea of the false 9. I'm interested to hear what you guys think. Would you go Mainoo false 9? Or does it not give us enough goal scoring threat? Because ultimately, you can talk about tactics all day. This match is going to be won in the 2 boxes or just outside the 2 boxes, depending on if someone's hitting it from distance. The game's going to be decided, and the tie is going to be decided, and our season's going to be decided here and here. So maybe you get Højlund in. Because even though he's had a poor season, he's struggling a little bit, he is one of our goal scorers in the squad, right? He is someone who has the ability on his day to be a good finisher, to be quite a ruthless finisher. We saw it last season. It's a tricky one. It's a tricky one. AJ, do you think we can win, and how? I think we can win. I think we will win. I am quite confident coming into this game. How? I think it's about what we've just spoken about. Recognising the weaknesses that were there last week, and this week exploiting them, basically. And I think team selection can allow us to do a lot of that. Yeah, David, I think there's something in that Mount false 9 shape. I think there is some... Shout, sorry. I think there is something in that. It's just... Could you even play Højlund? Could you even offset Højlund to one side? Like I said, these two midfielders, they follow your inside forwards. They do. So when the ball goes wide, the fullback comes out, because that's how the structure works, right? Winger on centre-back, wing-back picks the ball up, fullback comes out to engage. This player here is going to follow our inside forward. If you can drag into that space, because the fullback's not there, this space opens up in the middle. There is that shout for the false 9. There is that shout for the false 9 to pop it off, and then we've got runners. It probably works better if you've got Xerxes, because he at least is a striker. I was a little bit surprised not to see Xerxes feature from the start last week. Again, it's one of those ones where we're probably not in the position right now to experiment in that way. So you probably go Højlund up front, Garnacho left, Mount right. I think it's one of those ones. But as the game goes on, there is something to look at there if we need to get at them. We don't have enough goal scoring threat even with a striker. I don't think a false 9 will affect it that much. True, that's a valid point. Just be unpredictable, confuse the opposition. It would be something that would catch them off guard, you would think. If I were to go for a false 9, it should be Mount. He is the more accomplished finisher. Should we do a poll? Should we do a poll on the striker? I didn't think we were going to have this today, because it should have been just Højlund, right? Let's do a poll. Højlund as your traditional striker. Mount as a false 9, or Menu also as a false 9. Did not expect to do this poll today. I thought striker was going to be quite straightforward. But we have come up with a potential different solution there, which I love to see. I love to see. I think we should be fluid with the front three. I would always love to see that. We haven't seen it too much under Amorim so far. But hopefully that's something that we continue to sort of progress into, right? Hopefully. I also like the idea where possible, if we can get a diamond going in midfield. And Mount maybe gives us that. You'd then want Xerxes there, wouldn't you? You'd want Xerxes coming in there. I know the poll went a different way. Is there a shout here for Bruno and Mount in the 210s? I know a couple of you guys said this right at the start. Where's you guys say? Is there a shout for this? Because then you could switch to a diamond. But is there a lack of firepower there because we don't have wingers out here? If we had wingers out here, it might be different. Do we lack true attack and firepower there in that team? Do we have to play Garnacho? Not sure. Again, you're probably okay. Again, is it the night for experimenting? Is it the night to try something different? Probably not in the biggest game of the season. But if we did do something different and it done well, Amorim would get a lot of praise. I'd rather have Chad as a striker than Højlund at this point. I have seen Chad play pro clubs. You do not want him as your striker, my friend. Sorry, Chad. Shouts for Mount and Menu in the 10. Yeah, that's another option as well. That is another option. Could we, again, take Garnacho out and get Kobe in a 10? The only kind of question mark I would have there is I don't think either of these two can play 90 minutes right now. So if you start both of them, you're guaranteeing 2 subs you've got to make, which isn't ideal. Whereas at least, Garnacho, you can get 90 out of him, and you could do a Menu Mount straight swap. Whoever starts, the other one comes on. That's also an option if Bruno starts as well, that you could bring these two both on from the bench. Not sure. What's the poll saying right now? Fairly one-sided towards Højlund. Okay, I'm not worried about letting that run for too long. Oh, Chad heard me. God damn it. Chad heard me. All right, we'll put Højlund up top. So this is the 11 that we have come up with. And I think that is the same team that I had in my thumbnail. Is it the same team? I think it is, right? think it's the exact same team. Did anyone in a Discord call this team? Did anyone in Discord? By the way, if you want to join a Discord, it's linked at the top of the chat. It's completely free to join. You can see down the left here, there's loads of different conversations. You can submit channel ideas. We've got random stuff like FPL, Football Manager, which is always pretty busy. People can send pictures of their dogs and cats if it loads. Why is my internet so bad? What's going on here? Anyway, there's stuff you can do, right? There's stuff you can do. Let's, for now, though, stick to over here and see if anybody got this 11 yesterday. And also, whilst we're looking at this, get your predictions in the chat right now. Not in Discord, the stream chat. Let me know your goal scorers. And if you are a member, you can use emojis to predict that. So, we've got this team here from Nev, which is one player off what we've ended up with today. He accidentally put his wing-backs the wrong way around. He went 3-1 United. Bruno braced with a penalty. Got Nacho to seal it. This team here is exactly what we've got. Exactly what we've got in the stream today. Although we had the two wider centre-backs the other way around. Steve, can I click this or is it going to go off screen? Is it going to go off screen? Steve has the exact team that we've got currently on screen, including the centre-backs this way around. Although he thinks we're going to win with a 97th minute goal from Maguire, which terrifies me, having to wait that long. Nev also forgot that Mount exists, which is reasonable. He's been injured quite a lot. Steve thinks Bruno will personally drag us through the game. Probably. It's what he does. We've got Onana, Mazraoui, Yoro, Shaw. So we've got a shout for Shaw starting here. With Bruno and Mount as the two 10s. Something that we did discuss. Can someone server ban Josh, please, by the way? He's gone for 2-0 to Lyon with goals from Matic and Cherky. Josh, I'm going to find you, mate. I'm going to find you. Anyway, let's have a look at some score predictions we've got in the chat. Chad has gone 6-1. Steve has gone for the 97th minute winner from Maguire. We've got 2-0 win with Bruno and Mainu to score the goals. Yes, please. Maguire bicycle kick in the 97th minute. I'll take it. Corey says 2-1 United. Yes, please. Who are your goal scorers, Corey, mate? 3-1, I think United will concede early and make their way back. I think we also saw that shout in Discord yesterday. Kevin went for... he said that he typed the names in the wrong order. So I think he's got the same 11 as us. But he got Dorgu and Mount and the forwards the wrong way around. But I think he got the starting 11 the same as what we've got. Lovely little bit of artwork of myself. Look at that little picture. Lovely. Josh was also pretty close to what we've got, but he's got Eriksen over Mount. We didn't really discuss Eriksen as an option too much today, did we? He also got 6 red cards, though, because he predicted Lyon to win. If he ever does that again, he's getting banned. Onana, Mazraoui, Maguire, Yoro. There you go. Okay, we've got a few people then. We've got a few people calling pretty much exactly what we've gone for today. Again, if you want to get involved in the Discord and see great contributions like this from me, really great contributions, then the link is at the top of the chat. So get involved over there. Anyway, let's have a look in the chat over here. What's going on? I believe in Onana. This week he was left out. He will have a De Gea versus Arsenal performance. Hopefully we don't need that level of performance. Hopefully Onana can just put his feet up and watch the game and we win 3-0. But I'm not sure if it's going to happen. Hopefully, if we do need him, he's there for us. Josh, you were lucky to only get 6, mate. Bobby the Bob says Rasmus with the goal in a 2-1 win. Okay, that's my next question then, guys. If you could pick a player to score the winner, let's say we win this football match by 1 goal, who would you pick to score the winner? A United player, by the way. Don't give me I don't know, Boris Johnson or something. Give me a Manchester United player you want to see score the winner tonight. If you could pick one player to grab it, who's it going to be? David in the chat with the super chat. David, thank you very much again, my friend. I noticed this because of Chad and Josh turning the chat green. Guys, be like Chad and Josh. Spam some green in the chat. But David says 4-1 to United. I would love it. Goals from Bruno, Maguire, Dalot, Højlund. It's not far off my prediction in terms of the score. I'll give mine in just one moment. But David, thank you very much, as always, for the support. Is Xerxes out for the rest of the season? He is, unfortunately. By the way, I just sent on Discord, nice little message from Amarim here. Get ready to give it your all. That's my sole message to everyone involved with United. Get behind the team tonight. I mean, always get behind the team. But might need us tonight. If we lose, petition to delete the Onana emoji, please. Never. Anyway, your guys' ideal goal scorers. Boris Johnson with a 97th minute winner. It's possible. Johnny Evans. I like it. The goalkeeper coach. Mainu or Mount. It would be so good for me, right? If I could pick, I would go... I can get it down to... I like so many of these players, man. That's why they annoy me so much. Mount, for the story of like the injury problems he's had, come on or start or whatever, score, make the difference, would be an amazing moment for him. I'd love Højlund to grab it as well because of all the issues he's had. It's been a really difficult season for him. So for him to have that moment would be huge. There's always you just love Bruno scoring, right? You know, you can't beat a Bruno goal, so Maguire, there's something about when Maguire scores late. There's a few. If I had to pick one, it's Højlund or Mount for me. Cobby's a good shout as well. I would go... I'm going to go Højlund with Mount assisting it. Am I allowed to do that? That's what I would go for. I'd love to see my striker get a big goal. I'm calling it here. Onana last-minute bicycle kick from a Bruno corner. I feel like if Onana's up for the corner, then we might be in trouble, because does that mean we're 1 goal down? It's going to be a big Dallo. It's always big Dallo if you ask Steve, mate. Always. Euro. Yeah, Euro's a good shout as well. I'll be at Old Trafford, so we better flip and win. Enjoy it, Tams, mate. Enjoy it. Be loud on behalf of us lot over here, right? About time that goalkeeper coach started to do something. He's not really scored enough this season, has he? Portuguese Magnifico scores the winner. Yes, please. I'll take any of them. Just win. My score prediction. Thanks for asking. Jokes. No one asked. I'm going to go for 3. That's right. Actually, leave a like on the stream. Leave a like on the stream, and then I'll tell you my score prediction. Leave a like, then you'll get my score prediction. Leave a like. Leave a like. We got a £5 super chat from MD. Thank you very much, my friend. That's very kind of you. Guys, show some support, appreciation, whatever, for MD in the chat. Turn that chat green. Get some love hearts for this individual right here. Thank you very much for the donation. That's very kind. I really want to see us try and get hold of the ball. Risky, but at home I'd like to see Mainu and Bruno in the pivot. I think Mainu is better than Casemiro. That is bold. That is bold. A little bit risky, but I do like the idea of trying to take the game to the opposition. I think we are good enough that we should be taking this game to Lyon. Do I completely agree with your midfield too? Perhaps not. I would probably go with Casemiro for a little bit more experience. But I do agree with the idea of let's be aggressive. Let's take the game to the opposition. I completely agree with that. I think the way for us to win this game is to get on the front foot. Because I think if we take the ball, I think we're better. I'm aware it's very bold. I love it. I love to see a bold team. And like I said, I do think that's the way for us to play tonight. Get on the front foot. We don't need to sit deep. We don't need to sit deep and almost show too much respect to Lyon. We don't need to do that. There's gaps in their team. There's gaps in their system that you can hurt. Get after them. Although, I would play Casemiro. But thank you very much for the super chat. That's very kind, mate. Very, very kind of you. 100 likes for AJ's score prediction. How many are we on right now, mate? I can't see. Maguire with the thumping header winner, 97th. Why has everyone gone for 97th? Have I missed something? Why is there no like 96th or 98th? It's all 97th. It's just written in the stars that that's when Maguire scores. 1-0 with Højlund in the 78th. I'd take that. I'd take that. 2-1 win with the Garnacho winner. Garnacho is another one who I'd be very, very happy for. Very happy for. Need 7 more likes. All right, guys. 7 of you out there. Well, a lot more than 7. But I just want 7 of you who haven't pressed like to please press like. Please. By the way, I've got a couple of bloopers from me attempting to record the other day. What video was it? I think it was my video from last night. I started the video by going, recently I've been quite critical of Amorim. And it turns out I can't say quite critical very well. I very much stumble on that. I trip up on it. So maybe if those likes really fly high, I might release the blooper because I look a right numpty, I can't lie. because we always score and win the game late if we win. Yeah, fair. It's just weird that everyone went 97th. No one went 98th or 96th. Everyone's on 97th. You've got to respect. Casemiro, one of the best CDMs before joining United. I think he's one of the best ball-winning midfielders of all time. Recently, I think he's not at peak form, of course, but he's been good recently. He's been really good, and he's been a big player for us. And I think this latter part of the season, we would have struggled without him, to be honest. AJ put the bloopers in the members channel on Discord. It's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. I think I do the intro 5 times or something, trying to say quite critical, and then I shout quite critical at myself. Just have a little breakdown. I think I've still got the clip. I think I've still got it. I'll have a look. Are we at 100 yet? Oh, easy. Good morning to you, my friend. Actually, it just ticked into the afternoon. Good afternoon, mate. Hope you're well. Matic 98th. Josh, I swear to... Can we mute this bloke? Josh, you got to stop with these predictions, man. I want to see positive energy. I want to see good vibes. You can't be predicting these Lyon winners. If not, I'm going to elbow drive you. Who would Amorim sub in for Højlund today? That is a great thing that we need to, or a great point that we need to talk about. Because who should we bring on from the bench? Because this could go to extra time. We could play an extra 30 minutes. If this is our 11, what have we got? Kobe? Ericsson? Ugarte, I think, can have a really nice impact with his intensity from the bench. I think that could be quite good for us. I don't know that Dorgu's got 120 minutes in. So is there a chance we could see someone like Amas? Possibly. Or would it be more like Lindelof comes into defence and Mazraoui goes to wing-back? Maybe. Sure, maybe. But in terms of a Højlund replacement, there isn't one. There isn't one. Because Chidowobi is not allowed to play, I don't believe. Because I think for a youth player to be able to play at this stage in Europa League or get registered this late, they have to have been at the club a certain amount of time. And Chidowobi hasn't, so I don't think he can play. So, yeah, we don't really have another striker. We don't really have another striker. There's an imposter here. There is indeed, and his name is Josh. Oh, we've reached 100 likes. Guys, thank you very much for 100 likes. It works. I just need to give you guys something that I will do if we get to 100 likes. Okay, noted. Don't mean to say like that. What was this for? My score prediction. 3-1 Manchester United. We're going to play them off the park, and our goal scorers are going to be... Are you ready for this? Mason Mount. Bosch. Bruno, Mount, Højlund. 3-1 Manchester United. We go 1-0 up, and they pull one back. 1-1 at half time. Oh, we're all a little bit nervous. Bam, second half. 2 goals come in. We win 3-1. We go through comfortably. It's all rather easy. Harry Amos comes on late on, starts doing rainbow flicks just to take the piss. It's what we want, right? It's what we want. I have faith in Erasmus. Hopefully tonight is his night. Evans 95th, Maguire 97th. Yes, please. AJ, I respect that you read out text that is not paying and you give proper information. I try my best, my friend. Thank you very much. I'm glad you acknowledge it and appreciate it. I get it on bigger channels, right? Some channels are so massive. They've got so many people in the chat that it's obviously difficult for them to read out all the messages. So super chats are a good way of sort of guaranteeing that a message is seen. And it is the same here. I will definitely see if it's a super chat. But I try my best to read everything because in my eyes, you guys make the stream, not me. I take your energy, your ideas, and then put it on for everyone to see. So you guys make these streams, in my opinion, which is why I like to read out as much as possible. It's going to be 5-0 at home. Yes, absolutely, yes. I know it's not perfect, but I'm enjoying the Amorim job so far. What happened to my voice there? You hear that? That was odd. Mr. Miracle, good afternoon, mate. How are you? Been studying for exams. Best of luck with your exams, mate. Best of luck. Hopefully you got enough time to stop studying to watch the game tonight, right? And if you haven't, screw your exams. United are winning tonight. Get the game on. Get the game on. David Satula is the one who truly makes the streams. That is an absolute fact. An absolute fact. Steve, if I see that in Discord, I guarantee you it's getting deleted, mate. Anyway, I think apart from that, that is everything covered. That is everything covered everything to talk about. We've got our starting 11. We've got an idea of our approach. Sneeze. We're good. We're good. I'm not going to sneeze. I think we're good. We're good. Oh, I will just answer this. Quick question. If we lose to Lyon, is Amorim still the best we could get moving forward? You guys will know that when it came to the manager conversation around Ten Hag, I was someone that wanted to keep Ten Hag. Purely because, not because I thought Ten Hag was perfect, far from, but because I wasn't 100% convinced by other options. I thought there were a lot of good managers out there. Amorim is one of them. Even someone like Pochettino, right? Good manager. Lots of options out there. But none of them fully convinced me that they were definitely better than Ten Hag. And I would say I'm still in that boat a little bit. Do I think Amorim is a very good manager? Yes. Do I have full faith in him? Yeah, I said it last night. 100%. Full faith in this bloke. He does need to improve, though. He does need to progress. I think I've always been a little bit unsure of a back three. We had a lot of conversations on this on Discord this time last year. People were looking at new managers, and I was quite big on avoiding a back three manager, just because it's not for me. It's not my personal preference, how I like football to be played. But that's not to say it can't work. I think it can work. I think Amorim will get it there if we get the recruitment right. I think we will make it work. Do I think we're going to win the league in the next 2 seasons? No, but I think we're going to make progress. I think we are going to improve under this guy, and hopefully that progress can be a lot quicker than what we've seen this season. Winning Europa League is a big boost, right? Financially, I think we saw this morning that we get over 80 million, I think, if we win the Europa League, which is massive. Absolutely massive. So yeah. Hopefully that can kind of speed up the process. I still completely believe in Amorim. It's not my ideal type of football. It's not my dream approach. But he's a young manager. He's learning on the job. He's got a bit of an interesting team in a bit of an interesting football club. I like how he is in press conferences. I really like that. I'm a big fan of that. I think he'll get there. I think he'll get there. I actually feel a lot more confident in Amorim's ability to communicate, to manage, and the system as a whole, but only with proper backing compared to Ten Hag. I do see that. I think the football was a bit more entertaining under Ten Hag, not always for the right reasons. But I've got full faith in this man. I think this man tonight is going to set us up in a way that we win. I'm really confident. Maybe I'm going to look like a right tit tomorrow, but I think we're going to win this football match, which, if Amorim can keep doing that, if he can set us up in ways that win us football matches, that win us trophies, then I personally am not going to have any complaints. Amorim, hopefully, is the one. Is that everything for today? Went on a little tangent there, saw one question. Is that everything for today? I think it is. I think that is everything that we need to cover. We've got our starting 11. We've discussed how we want to play football. We've gone through the Discord. Spoken about Amorim at the end there. I think we covered everything. So, guys, thank you very much. Enjoy the game tonight. I'll often, before these games go, it's not the be-all and end-all, right? If we lose, it's only football. No. I'll be heartbroken if we lose this one. I will be absolutely devastated. What do we do for the rest of the season if we lose this one? Please win. Please win. Please win. Back the team would be my advice, you know. Actually, hey, plug time. Guys. Get yourself in the Discord. It's linked at the top of the chat. Get yourself in the Discord right now, because this chat here, this channel, United versus Lyon, is going to be busy tonight. Busy. During the match, this is going to be full of fellow United fans talking about the match. So get yourself involved there. But yeah, that's everything for today. So thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this stream. Thank you for the likes, the super chats, the gifted memberships, the renewal of memberships, anyone that subscribed, anyone that got notifications on, anyone that said I've got a nice hat. Yep. Also, by the way, tomorrow in the video, I'm going to tell you where you can get these from, because these posters are beautiful. You've probably seen this in the background recently. Lovely. So that will be in tomorrow's video. Yeah, I will catch you guys tomorrow morning for a